They tried to silence him. They erased his name. But he rebuilt from nothing. He fought every algorithm. They tried again and failed. Now he's back, stronger. From blackout to spotlight, he's at the White House, at the top of his game. Franchi lives.
You are about to enter another dimension, the dimension of truth, unfiltered and uncensored. Welcome to the Raw Feed with Gary Franchi.
Welcome to the Raw Feed. I'm Gary Franchi, coming to you live from the heart of America. Unfiltered truth to millions on YouTube. Hit those donation links below. Every contribution powers our gear. Every contribution keeps the party going. Help me help you. Hit those donation links. YouTube channel memberships. Special acknowledgement in the fellowship. Your super chats keep me standing. Your rumble rants fuel every round.
Say hello to super chats.
Spread the intel. Every repost extends our reach.
Super chats fuel this spectacle. Your rumble rants give me strength.
24/7 members-only community, behind-the-scenes discussions.
Connect with fellow patriots.
My mama always said, life is like sharing the truth. Text this stream to your friends. What if I told you the app is real? Download the Next News Network app. Android users, take the Google Play path. iPhone users, App Store awaits. The establishment media won't tell you this, but the most revealing moment of Super Bowl weekend wasn't anything that happened on the field. It was what America witnessed during two very different halftime shows. I'm Gary Franchi, this is the Raw Feed, and February 9th holds a special significance in American political history. On this date in 1950, Senator Joseph McCarthy delivered his famous Wheeling speech, warning Americans about communist infiltration in our government. Whether you agree with his methods or not, McCarthy understood something the swamp creatures of today refuse to acknowledge. Ideas have consequences, and cultural battles determine the fate of nations. That lesson couldn't be more relevant as we watch the current fight for America's soul play out in real time. Tonight we're going to cut through the noise to bring you the stories that matter most to patriotic Americans who refuse to be spoon-fed propaganda by the corporate media complex. First up, we'll expose the glaring double standard that played out this weekend when Turning Point USA's All-American halftime show featured Kid Rock, facing fierce criticism from the very same media outlets that celebrated degeneracy when it serves their agenda. While the NFL pushed content that would make your grandmother blush, conservatives dared to present an alternative vision of American culture, and suddenly everyone became moral guardians. The hypocrisy is breathtaking, and we'll show you exactly how the left's selective outrage reveals their true priorities. Then we're diving deep into the explosive revelations surrounding the Epstein files. The Congress is demanding be released in full, despite the Epstein Transparency Act creating a legal obligation for complete disclosure. Key names remain redacted, including 7 of 10 identified co-conspirators. Representative Thomas Massey fought hard to get this legislation passed, but someone is still protecting the powerful elite who participated in this network. We're going to break down who's blocking transparency and why the American people deserve to know the complete truth about this scandal that reaches into the highest levels of power. Our third story this evening exposes the questionable financial dealings of Representative Ilhan Omar, of House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer, asking some very serious questions. How does someone go from $65,000 in debt to millionaire status in just 5 years of congressional service? Her husband's investment firm with no known clients, a winery that produces no wine. Yes, the numbers don't add up, and the patterns look familiar to anyone who studied how Washington insiders enrich themselves at taxpayer expense. We'll walk you through the evidence that is continuing to build. And next, we'll examine the urgent warning issued by Secretary of State Marco Rubio telling all American citizens to leave Iran immediately. This is not typical diplomatic language. This is a get-out-now directive that suggests serious escalation is coming. Under President Trump's leadership, our foreign policy sends clear messages to bad actors worldwide. When this administration tells you to leave somewhere, you better believe they mean business. We'll analyze what this means for America's strategy in the Middle East and why Trump's approach gets results where previous administrations failed. And finally, we're going to highlight the massive grassroots push for the Save America Act that would require proof of citizenship to vote in federal elections. 83% of Americans support voter identification requirements, including 71% of Democrats, yet establishment Republicans continue hiding behind the filibuster instead of delivering results. Alabama just caught over 3,000 illegal aliens registered to vote. Imagine what's happening in states that actively encourage this fraud. We'll show you why eliminating the filibuster to pass election integrity legislation isn't radical. It's essential for preserving our republic. So this day in history reminds us that those who stand up to powerful, entrenched interests often face fierce resistance. McCarthy's warning about ideological subversion proved prescient, even if his tactics were controversial. Today's patriots fighting for transparency, accountability, and election integrity face similar attacks from the same type of establishment forces. You see, the Raw Feed doesn't just report news. We connect the dots they don't want you to see. Tonight's show will arm you with the facts you need to understand what's really happening in America, while the mainstream media distracts you with manufactured controversies. So stay with us. Let's welcome you to the show. Who's here tonight? Mrs. Pothead Kenny, Bill's Rules, Melissa Skinner, David Lipke, War Priestess, Mr. K, James Sari. Everyone's filing in. Great to see everybody tonight. Did you guys watch the Super Bowl? Honestly, I didn't even watch 1 minute of it. And the only thing I did tune into was the Turning Point thing. And of course, if you were following me on X, then you know how I feel. We'll go deeper into that, as well as some of the fallout from both sides. And Kid Rock is now responding to the lip sync allegations that were glaringly obvious. And he even said something to Laura Ingraham that contradicts everything. So, yeah, words have meanings, and we're going to cut through those meetings, and you're going to see exactly what happened. Let's see the Trump dance. Well, you know, the Trump dance only shows up when we hit a certain number. But first, we got to hit our main goal. Let's see if we're even close to that yet. Look at that. We have a new member. And let's see. Alan Mann, what's up, has become a member. And James Fay also dropping $10 today. Thank you for that. First super chat of the evening. And Chris Orr also, hi Gary and everyone, dropping 10. And Curio2369, if two pregnant women have a fist fight, it's become a mech battle with two unborn babies. Love you, Gary and family. All right. Well, we're on our way to our goal tonight. So let's get into it. We got some news to cover. We got some videos to break down. Some interesting controversies that are brewing on all fronts. So let's have at it. The Super Bowl just became ground zero for America's culture war. On one side, Turning Point USA's Kid Rock performance that had Christians confused. On the other, Bad Bunny's Spanish language spectacle that left 100 million English-plus speaking Americans sitting in bewildered silence. But here's what the mainstream media won't tell you about what really happened. See, this isn't just about entertainment. This is about who controls American culture. When the NFL chooses performers singing in foreign languages over English-speaking artists, they're making a statement about who really matters in America. Meanwhile, conservative alternatives like Turning Point USA's halftime show face mockery and division from even their own supporters. Yes, your kids are watching and they're seeing American traditions sidelined while foreign influences take center stage at our most American sporting event. The culture war isn't coming, it's here, and it's playing out during primetime television with your family watching. And speaking of things that should concern every American family, if you're over 40 and you're planning to retire someday, the window to protect what you have built may be smaller than you realize. Your portfolio, is it built for what's coming next? Many investors in their 40s and 50s have no exposure to precious metals. Their savings are tied to markets, government policy, and paper assets with very little protection if conditions change. As retirement moves from someday to right around the corner, protecting what you've built becomes just as important as growing it. That's where Noble Gold Investment comes in. They help investors reduce risk by adding physical gold to their portfolios. No pressure, no sales gimmicks, just clear answers and a strategy built around your goals. Visit nextnewsgold.com. Again, that's nextnewsgold.com, or call that number on the screen to find out how you can get one of these 3-ounce American Virtues silver rounds into your collection. But here's where this story gets even more revealing. Bad Bunny allegedly deleted his entire Instagram account after the performance. Even he doesn't want to be associated with what happened. Meanwhile, Kid Rock facing criticism for lip syncing, but supporters claim the pre-recorded old songs versus live new material was intentional symbolism. The real question, why does the NFL think Spanish language performances represent America better than English-speaking artists? Well, we have this now just in. Kid Rock responding to the lip sync allegations. He says something very telling here, because in my initial allegations, when I watched it, sitting with family and friends, the first thing we saw was a train wreck disaster of lip syncing. Kid Rock, I'm a fan, I mean, jumping around on stage, but clearly lip syncing. And I was, you know, the theatrics, the stage, very cool, but, you know, it looked like a small sound stage, didn't look like something very impressive, but nonetheless, I understand what it takes to pull off a production like this, so it was no small feat. But there's something that Kid Rock says here in this video that is very telling, because my initial reaction right out the gate was that his first performance was completely pre-recorded. And you could tell by the edit points and when they cut to black, and then all of a sudden, like literally, it's like you hear the crowd, but then the screen goes black, and the crowd continues, that audio track continues, and then it cuts to Kid Rock on stage. And then immediately after that, you have another cut to black, a fade to black, and then it shows up again, and you have the soft orchestral performance set up in the front of the stage. Now, in order for a stage crew, to produce that kind of efficient resetting of a stage in that much time, it's virtually impossible. I mean, you literally have to cut to a completely different stage, and that's why my allegations stand with respect to the pre-recorded nature of this. I give Turning Point USA 100% credit for doing what they did. Let's not mix my allegations and criticisms of it. But when you claim something is live and it's not, you're being dishonest to your audience. Now, why would they pre-record this? Well, Kid Rock claims that they didn't. Well, yes, perhaps maybe the other parts of the show were not pre-recorded. But listen to what he says here. I just saw this clip right before we went to air, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm listening to him, you'll listen, you'll hear it for yourself, and I'll let you be the judge, and I'll tell you what I'm thinking.
Yeah, so it was out of sync. And actually, just to have some fun with the haters, I can't answer all the trolls, but it's going to be some fun. My DJ, who actually raps that song with me, he was not lit up. He's coming to Nashville tonight, flying in, and we're going to do that live in my living room, and I'm going to post it tomorrow to show people exactly how this works. Because, number one, if it would have been a lip syncing like people are trying to, the left is trying to throw me under the bus again, and the mainstream media and social media tries to amplify it, it would have been super easy to sync it up if it was pre-recorded. It was very difficult.
Okay, so yes, that's my first criticism. If it was pre-recorded, it would have been very easy to sync it up. Well, to me, that just means it was sloppy. Just a real sloppy job of editing.
For the Turning Point production crew, who, by the way, I can't say enough good things about, but this was very difficult for them. I'm jumping around the stage like a rabid monkey, rapping my song, and I'm taking breaths, and my DJ's filling in the other parts of it. And it was I even told him when I saw the rough cut, I was like, you guys got to work on that sync. It's off.
So he says, when I saw the rough cut, he just said that it wasn't pre-recorded, but if it wasn't pre-recorded, how could you see a rough cut? I mean, he just revealed it right there on Laura Ingram's show, didn't even realize what he was saying. Did you hear that?
He's coming to Nashville tonight, flying in, and we're going to do that live in my living room, and I'm going to post it tomorrow to show people exactly how this works. Because, number one, if it would have been a lip syncing like people are trying to, the left is trying to throw me under the bus again, and the mainstream media and social media tries to amplify it, it would have been super easy to sync it up if it was pre-recorded. It was very difficult for the Turning Point production crew, who, by the way, I can't say enough good things about, but this was very difficult for them. I'm jumping around the stage like a rabid monkey, rapping my song, and I'm taking breaths, and my DJ's filling in the other parts of it. And it was I even told him when I saw the rough cut, I was like, you guys got to work on that sync. It's off. So it was just a syncing issue that they had, and I know they tried to get it right. It was very difficult, but I'll answer all the haters tomorrow, and we'll put them back in the shut up and go back to trying to report the fake news.
I mean, okay, so you heard him say it right there. If it was pre-recorded, blah, 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 but then I saw the rough cut. Someone please explain that to me. I mean, I've been in production for over 20 years. I know exactly what that means. So I think that Kid Rock really just slip of the tongue there, revealed exactly what happened. Unbelievably, Kid Rock lip-synced the whole show. Here's a video of him putting the microphone down several times. His lyrics kept going off. What a Republican ripoff. Now, I don't believe he lip-synced the whole show. I do believe that he only lip-synced this part of the show. So the lip-sync accusations against Kid Rock are only the beginning. Wait until you see what Eric Spracklin is saying about the actual halftime show. He says the worst Super Bowl of all time. New England didn't even deserve to be there. Bad Bunny halftime show was gay propaganda. The game itself was awful. The only good thing was that the Seahawks didn't allow the Patriots to win another ring. Spracklin wasn't done yet. His next tweet takes this criticism to an explosive new level about deportations. Bad Bunny's halftime performance was so universally hated, he might have actually done more for mass deportations than Trump is. Google searches for ICE tip line surge during Latinx superstar Bad Bunny's Super Bowl halftime. Now that's funny. Now, Eric Spracklin bringing Charlie Kirk into the mess, setting up a perfect segue to the TPUSA response. Pre-recorded lip-sync atrocity. Charlie Kirk would have never have let this happen. And what's funny is that Eric was actually reposting the video I had presented with similar criticism. Speaking of Turning Point USA, they're celebrating something completely different while the criticism is flying. Turning Point USA says, what a show. Thank you to everyone who tuned in for our All-American Halftime Show. What was your favorite part? Well, personally, I was just waiting for Kid Rock to show up. I didn't really know who any of these other performers were. So that was like my big thing. I like Kid Rock. I like his music. And of course, when he shows up, I'm like, wait a minute. Like my guests in my house were like, wait, this is, they're going to get roasted for this. This is the worst lip sync I've ever seen. And while TPUSA celebrates the political heavyweights are weighing in and Trump has thoughts, Trump goes off on Bad Bunny's performance. Nobody understands a word this guy is saying. The dancing is disgusting, especially for young children that are watching. President Trump's the Super Bowl halftime is terrible, one of the worst ever, makes no sense. It's an affront to greatness of America, doesn't represent our standards of success, creativity, or excellence. Nobody understands a word this guy is saying. The dancing is disgusting for our young children that are watching throughout the USA and all over the world. This show isn't just a slap in the face to our country, which is setting new standards and records every single day, including the best stock market and 401k in history. There's nothing inspirational about this mess of a halftime show. And watch, it will get great reviews from the fake news media because they haven't got a clue of what's going on in the real world. And by the way, the NFL should immediately replace its ridiculous kickoff rule. Make America great again, President Donald J. Trump. And Trump's criticism is getting amplified by supporters who are claiming victory with some interesting statistics. Final, MAGA boss, according to TMZ, the Turning Point USA halftime show was a hit, with 71% of Americans over Bad Bunny. That's a TMZ poll. Who had the better halftime show? Regardless of the criticisms of Kid Rock and the Christian themes that were presented, he did win over. All the practical noise, but let's get to what people saw during the performance itself. After years of grinding, Piano Dean writes, rehearsals, auditions, perfecting my stand perfectly, still in photosynthesized technique, I can finally say I've achieved my lifelong dream. I was one of the Bushes in Bad Bunny's Super Bowl halftime show. Yes, that's right. That's hilarious. This guy, one of the Bushes, there's actually a person there. That's hilarious. That's so funny. The bamboo forest was not just a set piece. There's a human story behind the bushes. The only cool part of the Bad Bunny halftime show is they set up a whole ass bamboo forest midfield. Yeah, so who cares, really, honestly. The Bushes, everyone's talking about, they were real people and social media is having a field day. The Bushes for Bad Bunny's Super Bowl halftime were actual people. Bad Bunny's halftime show opener was a total flop. This is bad. Viewer discretion advised. I don't even know if I want to click here. I'm not sure what I'm going to see. I don't want to subject you to it. All the division with the alternate halftime show for what? Just for Bad Bunny to come out preaching love over hate and put out the best halftime show? Oh, really? He made Turning Point USA look silly? Well, I saw the set list of what Bad Bunny was singing. I saw the translated lyrics, and I was appalled at what I saw. And then we have this from our own Next News Network. The Super Bowl halftime show had two men grinding on each other. This has two men sprinting full speed trying to destroy each other. One of these is the America I Know. Apparently this is a new extreme sport that's coming out.
Oh, what a hit!
Run Nation, I guess it's called. That was a video going viral by Daily Loud. New combat sport league where heavyweights just sprint full speed into each other. The criticism continues, but now we have this. The worst part about Kid Rock lip-syncing the Turning Point Super Bowl. They opened his performance on a solid black screen. They ended on a solid black screen as if we wouldn't notice it was pre-recorded, but the real crime, it wasn't even live. And that's my criticism again. That segment, at least that segment wasn't live. And it would make perfect sense if the whole thing was in fact pre-recorded. Because they have to have everybody standing in wait for that perfect moment when the halftime, because it's never really the same moment the halftime begins. if one of the quarters is extended or timeouts or whatever happens, it's a variable moment. So it would make perfect sense to pre-record the entire thing and then load it up into a server. I mean, it's very simple. I mean, there's software you can do it. You can play the file and just let it go when it's time to go. It's not a difficult process, and I know that Turning Point surely has that fact down. So my main criticism is that at least from what I can tell, the initial Kid Rock performance was pre-recorded, and it's likely that the entire show was pre-recorded as well. Charlie Kirk would not have approved of Kid Rock's pre-recorded lip-sync Super Bowl performance. That's my take. Boycott the halftime show. Michael Jackson standing still for 2 minutes without doing anything is better than Bad Bunny's entire career. I remember seeing that Super Bowl performance of Michael Jackson when I was younger, wondering, he's just standing there for 2 minutes, literally. Well, from boycotts to brutal comparisons, the takes are getting more savage. I said, but I'll take a shitty Kid Rock lip sync. I'll take a shitty Kid Rock lip sync over Bad Bunny twerking in Spanish. And Bad Bunny had deleted his entire Instagram after the halftime show because clearly he doesn't want to be associated with that performance, in my opinion. Everyone talking about that following. But I think this was probably one of the most revealing moments I saw on social media. I took to and decided needed to amplify. This is what it looks like when the NFL tells 100+ million English-speaking Americans to sit down and shut up at their own Super Bowl. A stadium full of fans who paid $5,000 a ticket, standing in confused silence while two people dance to lyrics nobody understands. The NFL sending a clear message: this is not for you anymore. So you see the crowd there. They're looking at each other going, what are we even listening to? What is he even saying? The majority of that crowd does not speak that language. And the NFL clearly doesn't care. It was a massive virtue signal by the NFL. There might be a plot twist, though. If Kid Rock, this was something I posted last night, if Kid Rock had two women grinding on each other during Turning Point halftime, every media outlet in America would be running segments about the degradation of women. But two men doing it in the NFL stage, it's called culture. That clip was going viral all last night. Disgusting. And sadly, people's children were watching. And and I dragged Kid Rock pretty hard after the whole thing. This morning I woke up and I'm like, let's see if there's any more fallout. I saw a post that I felt needed to be, well, it really hit me because lip sync or not, there was a story arc I think that was trying to be presented. I dragged Kid Rock, the Kid Rock lip sync last night hard, but this take stopped me in my tracks. The lip sync was only on Bawita Daba, the old life. The live performance was the redemption. It's not production failure, that's a statement. There seems to be a lot of confusion, especially from the Christian community about Kid Rock's performance. Kid Rock started his set by performing as Kid Rock and then transitioned into his actual birth name, singing a song about Christ. So it was like, there was like a metamorphosis, a transition from the old life to the new life. Maybe that's the metaphor that was trying to be presented here. Some people saw it. I'm not sure how many people actually got it, but that's the take. So here's the moment that reveals everything. The footage you saw, 75,000 people sitting in confused silence while two performers dance to lyrics nobody understands. This is what it looks like when the NFL tells English-speaking Americans to sit down and shut up at their own Super Bowl. The message is clear. Your culture does not matter anymore. And the battle lines are drawn. On one side, you have corporate America pushing foreign languages and values during America's biggest sporting event. On the other, you have grassroots conservative movements trying to offer alternatives even when they're imperfect. Now, it's not about Kid Rock or Bad Bunny. It's about whether American culture will survive in America. The NFL made their choice. Turning Point USA made theirs. The question is, which America do you want your children to inherit? One where English-speaking traditions take a back seat to foreign influences, or one where American values come first? Let me know in the comments, and while you're engaging, check out the Next News merch shop to show where you stand in this culture war. Okay. Let's go. Brian, what happened? You lose internet or something? Well, I don't know. I don't know. Well, I'm looking at it. I see it. I see the words. I see it on the screen here. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm going back through it. I don't know. Whatever. Let's just move forward. We got more news to get to on the Raw feed tonight. Thank you for tuning in. Next week's going to be an interesting week. That's for sure. I will not be here next week. Tom McCullough will be in the chair. Looking forward to him. He's actually going to cover the whole week. I will actually be in Canada for an event and going to be giving you some exclusive on-the-ground coverage of some stuff that's happening up there with respect to President Trump's national security push for mineral reserves. So I want to just give you guys a heads up what's coming next week. Looking forward to that. Haven't been to Canada in a very long time. So yeah, I'll be up in the British Columbia, Vancouver area for that whole week. I'll be apparently. I guess I'm going to be going in a helicopter and some, in the back country, and going to some mining locations. I'm actually looking forward to it. I am a little nervous about going up on a helicopter, and I'm very nervous about the weather, like -5 degrees up there. Not looking forward to that personally. But hey, got to go where the news is, right? All right, let's get into it now. We got some more news to cover. Congress just gave Trump's Justice Department a legal mandate to release every single Epstein file, including client names, but instead of following the law, they're breaking it by redacting names of billionaires and co-conspirators. Representative Thomas Massey says the cover-up spans 4 administrations and will be bigger than Watergate, so the question is, what are they hiding? Now, it's not just about one dead financier anymore. We're talking about a systematic cover-up that could implicate some of the most powerful people in America. Billionaires, campaign donors, politicians across multiple administrations. The Justice Department has 6 million documents they're still hiding from Congress. They missed their legal deadline. Apparently, they're protecting perpetrators while exposing victims, and they're only defying a law that Trump himself could have supported if our own Justice Department won't follow the law. When it comes to exposing elite corruption, what does that say about equal justice in America? This affects every parent who wants to know if powerful predators are being protected by the system. And you know what? When we're talking about corruption being hidden in dark places, I need to tell you about something that actually brought light into my family's darkness. Now, for years, my wife battled chronic pain and anxiety, endless doctor's visits, treatments that failed. Watching her suffer daily broke my heart. Seeing the woman I love trapped in that darkness, and then Jonathan Otto introduced us to red light therapy, and everything changed. Her pain vanished, anxiety lifted, she got her life back. Red light therapy uses specific wavelengths that penetrate deep into your cells, boosting mitochondrial function and healing your body naturally. No pills, no side effects, just pure healing light. While the establishment hides truth in darkness, red light therapy brings literal healing light into your home. Don't let pain control your life like corruption controls our government. Get your red light therapy device today and start healing, because unlike our Justice Department, this actually delivers on its promises. You'll find the links and the promo codes just for you down below. But here's where it gets really wild. Thomas Massie says he received a flash drive with a complete list of every billionaire, every campaign donor, every single person connected to Epstein. And guess what? The DOJ leaked redacted files to the press before sending them to Congress. They're literally prioritizing media spin over congressional oversight. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche is scrambling, saying we have nothing to hide, while actually hiding everything. Ghislaine Maxwell apparently now invoking her Fifth Amendment rights, refusing to answer questions from the House Oversight Committee about Jeffrey Epstein during a virtual deposition from prison. This happened earlier today. This is only the beginning. The congressional investigation expands beyond just Ghislaine. Fox News also covering it. Oversight Committee's deposition of Ghislaine ended less than an hour after it began, when the convicted Epstein accomplice pleaded the Fifth Amendment. Maxwell appeared before lawmakers virtually for a closed-door interview in the setting, pleading the Fifth repeatedly. Multiple outlets are confirming the same story, but there is bigger questions about who else is involved. Ghislaine has invoked her Fifth Amendment rights and declined to answer any questions. Let's see what James Comer had to say.
As expected, Ghislaine Maxwell took the Fifth and refused to answer any questions. This is obviously very disappointing. We had many questions to ask about the crimes she and Epstein committed, as well as questions about potential co-conspirators. We sincerely want to get to the truth to the American people and justice for the survivors. That's what this investigation is about.
Justice for the survivors. That's what the investigation is about. James Comer clearly frustrated. Here's what gets interesting. While Congress hits a wall with Maxwell, new revelations about other key players are emerging. And as you know, we have been asking why Steve Bannon never releases Epstein footage for years. Apparently there's I guess we know now 15. I thought there was maybe 70 hours. The number's irrelevant because we still haven't seen any of that video footage. But as you know, Steve Bannon did work with Jeffrey Epstein. Now we're knowing the true intention of it based on the emails that have come out. And conservative media is going to have some very uncomfortable questions in the very near future. I'm sure Steve Bannon is going to have all the answers, though, because he knows his emails have been in there, and it's only a matter of time before people found them. Now we know the footage was for a rehabilitation documentary for Jeffrey Epstein being produced on the same day that Epstein was arrested. While publicly calling him a globalist child molester, Bannon was working to rehabilitate his image. Dinesh D'Souza, with his sarcastic take, Steve Bannon, man of the people. Here's the headline. Steve Bannon was planning to produce pro-Epstein documentary on the day of the financier's arrest. Emails revealed that Bannon was making arrangements for a redemptive documentary to counter damaging narratives advanced by Netflix Jeffrey Epstein Filthy Rich, filmed on location in Little St. John Island. The abandoned project was going to feature testimonials by Epstein pals like Michael Wolff. The authors here, Winston Cho and Stephen Zetchik. Yeah, Dinesh, clearly with his take, I with my own. Very curious, don't you think? Now, this Bannon revelation is explosive because it shows hypocrisy, calling Epstein a predator while publicly, calling him a predator publicly while secretly helping him behind the scenes. Elon Musk has his own take. Bannon is evil. Elon Musk, no fan of Steve Bannon. He's been attacking him for years. And now he has even more ammunition. Jeffrey Epstein wasn't just socializing with Steve Bannon, Mariano Fall writes. DOJ and House Oversight records show sustained coordination from 2017 to 2019. Epstein advised Bannon on funding. Need to understand flow of funds, strategy, and messaging. Of course, we've seen this picture before of Bannon sitting across the desk from Jeffrey Epstein, probably in Epstein's New York location. Elon Musk weighs in with only 2 words. You know the story has reached maximum viral velocity. Elon said Bannon was laundering.
Bannon was Jeffrey Epstein's friend. The business of Peter. Elon says that you were laundering. Money for me, the people plundering. A chameleon. Instantly by puppet she paid. Drunken charade. We see a China alliance.
The following is a public service announcement.
So the Dilly Meme team wasting no time jumping on that story. And Elon Musk, of course, amplifying the message. Social media amplifying the moments. Even a simple mention becomes part of the permanent record. Another one, Elon Musk, wow. One word, wow. Quote tweeting Steve Bannon, man of the people, the post by Dinesh D'Souza, the same headline again. Going out to millions and millions of Elon Musk followers. Musk's reaction brings us from the Bannon controversy straight to the government's handling of the files. Deputy AG Todd Blanche says Massey is asking to review unredacted Epstein files. They leaked it to the press before they actually sent it to me, but yeah, that's absolutely totally fine. We have nothing to hide, Eric Darty writes. Let's listen in.
There are a small number of documents, as I said on Friday, that we're waiting for a judge to say we're allowed to release because of a protective order. But this review is over. I mean, we reviewed over 6 million pieces of paper, thousands of videos, tens of thousands of images, and which is what the statute required us to do. You know, it's interesting. Leadership on the Hill, Congressman Massey, Senator Schumer are quick to complain. There is no way they have spent any time looking at the materials we produce, because I know the materials we produced them on Friday. By Saturday, they're already complaining about what we did. And by the way, apparently Massey and others wrote a letter to come and review unredacted materials. I didn't get that letter yet. They leaked it to the press before they actually sent it to me. But yeah, that's absolutely totally fine. We have nothing to hide. We have nothing to hide. We never did. And our doors are open if they want to come and review any of the materials that we produced.
So the door is open. Will people walk through it? Massey is accusing the DOJ of protecting perpetrators while exposing the victims. Massey on the Epstein files. They missed the deadline, but that's not the worst part. The 2 worst parts are that they're releasing victim information, outright lists of victims, and beyond that, they're withholding the perpetrators' names. Massey being positioned as the hero congressman fighting his own party. The personal angle humanizes the battle. Massey relentlessly fought for public disclosure of the Epstein files, even facing criticism from his own party's president.
There was one man in particular on the Republican side who did not stop for the disclosure of the files, for the public to see them, for them to be released. That man is Congressman Thomas Massey in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. He pushes for the Epstein Files Transparency Act. He's paraded and publicly crushed by the President of the United States of his own party over attempting to get these files released. And Massey was doing what all of us were doing the entire summer. It's like, this was a promise. Why are you not doing anything about it? These aren't a hoax. So now we have a member of Congress not afraid of the president, getting after it on a daily basis. And he was our voice during this.
So Massey, clearly a hero to many. Massey claims he now has everything, which sets up the ultimate question of what will he do with it. U.S. House of Representatives Thomas Massey last night received a flash drive containing the complete list of files belonging to Jeffrey Epstein. Everything is there. Every billionaire, every campaign donor, every single person. But he hasn't heard anything yet. Massey's painting the scope bigger than Watergate means this could topple multiple administrations and reshape American policies. Massey says Epstein will be bigger than Watergate and Iran-Contra. Spans 4 U.S. administrations, countless billionaires implicated, DOJ releases 3.5 million pages, but lawmakers say 6 million remain hidden. Congress tomorrow gets access to the unredacted files. James Moffat writes that Massey did more than anyone to get the Epstein Transparency Act passed, creating a legal obligation for Trump's AG to release the entire Epstein files, including the client names. They state here that Trump's AG is breaking the law by redacting names, including names of 7 of 10 Epstein co-conspirators. Here's the New York Post headline: Epstein email shows feds tried to contact 10 co-conspirators, including billionaire retail magnate behind Victoria's Secret. So Massey fought his own party's president to get these files released, and now Trump's Justice Department is breaking the very law that Massey created. 7 of 10 co-conspirators' names are still redacted. We know 3, Ghislaine Maxwell, Jean-Luc Brunel, and Leslie Wexner, but who are the other 7? The cover-up bigger than the crime. And here's what this comes down to. We have a Justice Department that appears to rather protect billionaire predators and follow the law. Will expose victims while hiding perpetrators. And Congress, we saw, passed a law. But the swamp creatures in the DOJ are defying everyone. It's not about Democrat versus Republican anymore. This is about whether powerful elite get a different system of justice than the rest of us. If they can cover up something that's massive, what else are they hiding? Do you think that Trump should fire everyone at the DOJ who's blocking his releases and start over with people who actually follow the law? Let me know in the comments. And while you're showing your support for truth and transparency, check out the Next News merch shop. Moving right along, no more super chats to speak of. And we got to talk about Ilhan Omar now, because she is still in the news, of course. She's not going away. Yeah, we're going to find out what's happening in the latest controversy with Ilhan Omar right now, as long as Brian is ready to rock and roll. Yo, Gary, is this live or pre-recorded? This is live, my friend. This is actually live, unlike the Turning Point event. Oh, boy. Okay, Brian, you ready to rock? Yeah? Okay, there we go. Congresswoman Ilhan Omar went from $65,000 in debt to millions in assets in just 5 years. Her husband's mysterious investment firm has no clients, no active SEC registration, yet somehow jumped from $51,000 to $33 million in value overnight. They own a winery that produces no wine. House Oversight Chairman James Comer is now investigating, but Omar just laughing it off. How does someone accumulate this kind of wealth on a government salary? Now, it's not just about one corruption or corrupt politician. This exposes the entire swamp system. While hardworking Americans struggle with inflation and rising costs, our elected officials are getting mysteriously rich. Omar's financial records could reveal a web of corruption that goes far beyond Minnesota. If she's using her position for personal gain, every vote she's cast becomes suspect. Her influence on immigration policy, foreign aid, and committee assignments takes on new meaning when money's involved. So this investigation could uncover how the establishment protects its own while ordinary citizens get investigated for far less. The double standard is staggering. Try to explain sudden wealth to the IRS and see what happens. Speaking of financial mysteries, while everyone's focused on Omar's millions, something massive just happened that could make early investors pretty wealthy. You see, the Trump administration quietly released a document that could completely reshape America's mining sector. This is not speculation. This is happening right now under Executive Order 14241. While Omar gets rich off mysterious business deals, President Trump is securing America's economic future through domestic mining initiatives. An official government report reveals critical mineral shortages that threaten our national security. We're dangerously dependent on China for materials essential to our defense systems, smartphones, and electric grids. This executive order prioritizes American mining companies like Vizsla Copper, positioning them at the forefront of this national security imperative. This is not just about mining, it's about breaking China's stranglehold on critical resources. Smart investors are paying attention because when national security meets business opportunity, fortunes are made. Unlike Omar's shadowy wealth accumulation, this opportunity is transparent and patriotic, and there is an exclusive full briefing that has been prepared just for you if you want to take action. Now back to the corruption scandal. Because here's what makes this even more suspicious. Reports suggest money was used to buy resorts in Kenya, apartments in Nairobi, and properties in Turkey. How does $650 million, flow through a Minneapolis airport TSA? The same agency that confiscates water bottles somehow missed hundreds of millions in financial transfers. Omar's dismissive response to the investigation tells you everything. She claims the money comes from her husband's consulting work. But consulting for whom? With no known clients and no active registration, what is he exactly consulting on? Brian DeMato writes, supporting criminals, Omar is going to prison. The real question is, Ayana going with her? It was incredible tour, Central Minnesota with Representative Presley, the longest standing Latino serving organization in our state. They're doing incredible work supporting Minnesotans. Yes, more propaganda from the left. Ilhan Omar out there, public relations tour. The accusation sets up perfectly for the investigation that are now coming to light. Liberty Nation Oversight Committee's investigation into Ilhan Omar's husband. U.S. Representative Ilhan Omar's husband, Timothy Minette, reportedly saw the value of his business grow from $51,000 to $30 million in a single year. But where did the money come from? That's the big question. Now we're getting into the meat of what caught the investigators' attention. The astronomical jump in business value demands explanation. Ghost Cowboy, the House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer, publicly announcing a panel he leads is actively digging into Ilhan Omar's financial records, especially after those eye-popping disclosures about her husband's company skyrocketing in value overnight. Comer's public announcement shows this is not speculation, an official probe with real oversight power into Ilhan Omar. Comer says he's looking into the finances of Ilhan Omar, while Omar ridicules the probe. She says the bulk of their money comes from her husband's consulting work and a joint investment in a California wine company. Oh, we've covered the wine company. Yeah, one of the bottles of wine they produce, the Devil's Lie. Benny Johnson just went to their website and made a little video. You can't even buy the wine on the website. You go to the address that's marked or listed on the Google Maps, and it just shows up like an empty building. We've seen that play out before, right, Nick Shirley? Notice how Omar's dismissive response contrasts sharply with the mounting evidence that we are about to see. Chicago One Ray, the money stolen bought resorts in Kenya, apartments in Nairobi, properties in Turkey, and luxury cars. $650 million went right through the TSA at the Minneapolis airport. This guy says he went to Florida, couldn't take a bottle of water through. Where are the arrests of Walls and Omar and Ellison? That's what I want to know too.
Who led these prosecutions for years stated that the estimated fraud is $9 billion. And this doesn't count fraud in SNAP or child care programs. So where's the money going? Minnesotans pay their taxes and they expect their money to go to things that help their communities. Roads, schools, healthcare, and not to be taken by criminals, to buy resorts in Kenya, apartments in Nairobi, property in Turkey, or luxury homes and cars in the U.S. Worse yet, Minnesota taxpayers have allegedly found their ways into the hands of terrorist organizations like Al-Shabaab, both directly and indirectly. The money is walking out the door at the Minneapolis-St. Paul Airport. Back in 2017, the estimate was about $100 million in cash was going out annually from our airport. According to TSA, in 2024, there were $340 million in cash outbound, and in 2025, it was $350 million. This is astonishing, not only because of the amount, but because it is so out of proportion to other airports. The cash out of Minneapolis is 99% higher than cash going out of Dallas, Atlanta, and JFK in New York. It's 90% higher than what's going out of Seattle. Minnesotans are incredibly frustrated that their hard-earned money is being siphoned off by criminals while their taxes keep going up and vulnerable citizens don't get the services they need.
The American people being fleeced day in and day out. The escalation from the financial discrepancies into the alleged international money laundering is exploding. Anyone else getting tired of Ilhan Omar? Nancy H. writes, arrest and deport her already.
I don't know about the rest of y'all, but I'm getting real sick and tired of this little lady.
The idea that this is a white nation that needs to be preserved is a fascinatingly disgusting view, because this country is one for the many.
Let me tell you something, bitch. Nobody's saying America has to be one skin color, but every nation on earth has a culture worth protecting. Funny how preserving identity is beautiful everywhere else. Japan does it, Mexico does it, even Somalia does it. But when America does it, it's disgusting. This ain't about no race. You snuck into this country and now you're trying to erase standards and history. America is an idea. And ideas only survive when people are brave enough to stand up and defend it. If every nation deserves an identity, then why is America the exception? We're not just gonna let you come up in here and switch up the rules to benefit only your people. So listen up, America, I need you to listen good. We need to vote these people out of power. Because you see what they're starting to do. They're starting to talk mess that they think they're gonna take over something. Because when a country isn't allowed to remember who it is, that means someone else will decide for it. And history shows that never ends peacefully.
Joey Gilbert, Nevada. Calls for arrest show public anger is building, but wait to see what Fox News investigators uncovered. Yes, it is getting worse for Ilhan. Fox News doing their own investigation into the sudden wealth accumulated after she got into Congress. Let's listen.
Chad, thank you. And focus now on Kaylee McGee-White, a Fox News contributor. Look, there's a whole lot of money on Capitol Hill, both sides of the aisle. And you could say that you want to follow all the money trail. Look at the Shush Fund years ago, where women were being quieted for some of the discrimination that was going on the Hill. So we get that. This is a very specific case. Why is that?
Yeah, I was doing a bit of research into Tim Manette, Ilhan Omar's husband's various businesses, and his investment firm. It has no known clients, no known investment deals. It doesn't even have an active SEC registration. And his winery, which is also purportedly making him millions of dollars per year, has no online presence. It has no marketable products available for purchase online. And get this, back in 2024, an investor into that winery actually sued Manette and his business partners, alleging that they had fraudulently misrepresented the winery as a legitimate business operation. So yeah, maybe there's a version of events here in which, of course, all of this is conveniently timed with his wife's election to Congress and her growing considerable influence in the Democratic Party. And maybe there is a version of events in which Ilhan Omar and her husband have just been extremely fortunate. But in that case, you would think that Ilhan Omar might be a bit more appreciative for this country and the ways in which it's aided her success. But I look at these events and I think they have cracked the Hunter Biden playbook. And I think that there are many other people in Washington, D.C. who watched the success of the influence peddling scheme that the Biden family ran. And more importantly, they saw that the Biden family faced zero consequences for that scheme. And they decided to try and replicate the results themselves. So I do hope that James Comer is successful at cracking what is actually going on here, because I think that she's probably not the only one in Washington with some considerable wealth to answer for.
Look, that's exactly where I started. There's a whole lot of money on Capitol Hill. And
yeah, there is. Ilhan Omar collecting a sizable amount of it. James Comer says that Ilhan Omar's financial records are being investigated by his committee over ethics because they lack jurisdiction over her husband's businesses. Listen.
Are you targeting her when there is a Ilhan Omar, your committee investigation with Ilhan Omar, when there is a process in the House, if people have questions about their conduct, this would go through the ethics committee. Why is this under
and I've spoken, I'm glad you asked that question. I've spoken with the ethics committee. The ethics committee has jurisdiction over members of Congress. The two businesses in question are owned by Ms. Omar's husband. So the ethics committee does not have jurisdiction over a spouse, only a member. So that's why we just asked, we would have questions. I don't think anyone would.
It would pertain to her overall finances, because that is listed on her financial disclosure report, even though that's her spouse.
We've run this by the ethics committee, and we think this is the appropriate route.
Yeah, see, they don't have jurisdiction over Ilhan, but they certainly do over Minette, right? And they ran it by the ethics committee, and that's the path forward. Fox's investigation is adding credibility to the financial red flags, and the details are damning. Kentucky Girl writes, Ilhan Omar must be investigated and arrested. She went from being $65K in debt to having millions of dollars in just 5 years. She has a winery with no wine. Her husband has an investment firm with no clients, no active SEC legislation, not even on legacy media. So, friends, this is the swamp in action. A woman who came to America as a refugee is now worth millions after just 5 years in Congress, laughing at investigations while Americans can't afford groceries. Her husband's phantom businesses magically became worth $30 million overnight. If this is not corruption, what is? The evidence is overwhelming, but will anyone be held accountable, or is this just another case of Democrat privilege protecting the untouchables? The House Oversight Committee investigation into Ilhan Omar's finances represents everything wrong with our two-tiered justice system. While ordinary Americans face IRS audits over minor discrepancies, Democrat politicians accumulate mysterious millions without consequences. Omar's journey from bankruptcy to wealth coincides perfectly with her congressional tenure, yet she mocks legitimate questions about phantom businesses and unexplained assets. This is not just about one corrupt politician. It's about whether laws apply equally to everyone or just the little people. James Comer deserves credit for pursuing this investigation, despite inevitable media attacks and Democrat obstruction. The American people deserve answers about how their representatives become millionaires on government salaries. Do you believe Omar's wealth came from legitimate business activities, or is this obvious corruption? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to check out the Next News merch shop for gear that shows you stand with America First Patriots fighting the swamp. Corinne Lynn dropping $10. Omar's husband is the new Epstein money launderer in chief. Omar did marry her brother. Yes, she did. And that's the funniest thing. Omar and Chanel bags. Total corruption. Walls is creepy for sure. Let's get that SAVAC traction, right? We're going to talk about that a little bit later in the show. First, we got to talk about what's happening with respect to this warning that's been put out by Marco Rubio. The MAGA world order. That's right, Jose. Welcome to it. Welcome to it. Secretary of State Marco Rubio just issued the most urgent warning possible to Americans in Iran. Leave immediately and don't expect government help getting out. This is not a travel advisory. This is a direct order from the Trump administration that suggests something major is about to happen in the Middle East. So if you have family or friends or business interests in Iran, this affects you directly. The State Department is telling Americans to stockpile food, water, and medicine while finding secure locations. That is crisis-level language. For America, this signals Trump is not playing games with Iranian aggression like previous administrations did. He's putting American safety first and sending a clear message that consequences are coming. Politically, this shows the difference between Trump's decisive leadership and the weakness we saw under Biden. While Democrats worried about optics, Trump acts to protect Americans. And speaking of major developments that are happening right now, while everyone's watching Iran headlines, the Trump administration quietly released a document reshaping America's mining future. You know, this is real. It's happening now under Executive Order 14241. This is not just mining, it's national security. An official report has now revealed that China controls over 80% of critical mineral processing. You probably didn't even know that. You see, that's dangerous dependence that Trump is ending. Now, Vizsla Copper sits at the center of this transformation. Their Panuco project in Mexico isn't just another mining operation, it's America's answer to Chinese mineral dominance. As Trump rebuilds American strength, companies like Vizsla become essential to our independence. While Iran creates chaos, smart money recognizes opportunity in American-controlled resources, and that's the kind of forward thinking that makes America strong again. There is a briefing that has been prepared just for you. You'll find it linked down below. We thank Vizsla Copper for supporting the Next News Network. But here's what the mainstream media won't tell you. This Iran warning comes just days after intelligence reports of increased Iranian military activity, and the timing not coincidental. Trump's team knows that something is coming, and they're getting Americans out before whatever happens next. This is exactly the kind of proactive leadership that puts America first. Iran's foreign minister says the country would strike U.S. bases if the United States attacks Iran. Speaking to Al Jazeera, he said Iran is ready for nuclear-focused talks but will not give up uranium enrichment, calling it a legal right.
The Iranian foreign minister says if the U.S. attacks their country, then they will retaliate with strikes on U.S. bases. Iran's foreign minister made those statements to Al Jazeera Saturday after weeks of heightened tensions as U.S. warships moved into waters near Iran. Although Iranian officials have stated they are ready for nuclear-focused talks, they have maintained they will continue to use nuclear enrichment for civilian use. Talks between representatives for the U.S. and Iran are expected to take place this week.
Why have we insisted on enrichment so much, and are we not willing to give it up even if war is imposed on us? Because no one has the right to tell us what we should and shouldn't have. This is based on the principle of negation of domination. I have the right to enrich according to the law. It is up to me whether I exercise this right or not. The fact that it was said over the years that you don't have the right to enrich, zero enrichment, why? Because we are concerned. Well, if you're worried, we are prepared to address concerns. If there are questions, we answer. If there is no trust, we create trust.
Both countries have responded to initial diplomatic talks, calling them positive.
We'll see how positive they are, but of course, when you have warships off of your coast, you better hope you have some positive momentum. Iran's escalating threats set the stage perfectly for what comes next. Washington's immediate response to protect Americans in harm's way. U.S. Embassy warning American citizens to leave Iran. This is the official notice. Increased security measures, road closures, public transportation disruptions, internet blockages are ongoing. The government of Iran continues to restrict access to mobile, landline, and national internet networks. Airlines continue to limit or cancel flights to and from Iran. U.S. citizens should expect continued internet outages. Plan alternative means of communication, and if safe to do so, consider departing Iran by land to Armenia or Turkey. So that is the official State Department warning. From the embassy, just the tip of the iceberg, now the full scope of the emergency directive. The U.S. virtual embassy in Iran has issued an urgent leave immediately alert for all American citizens in the country due to a rapidly deteriorating security environment. Americans are urged to leave now via commercial flights or cross land borders. This breaking alert gives us the who and what, but the next source reveals the critical how Americans are being told to escape. War would be the perfect distraction from the Epstein files for Trump, says Summit. Yeah, of course. That's really what it's about. They right here, the head of Ukrainian modeling agency Line 12 provided women for Jeffrey Epstein. She's the only person that knows everything. Apparently, emails now surfacing. Of course, wild speculations, but let's cut through the noise, get back to the core. U.S. Embassy tells the American citizens there to leave Iran now. Have a plan for departing Iran. It does not rely on U.S. government help. Flight cancellations and disruptions are possible with little warning. Check directly with your airline for updates. If you cannot leave, find a secure location within your residence or another safe building. Have a supply of food, water, medications, and other essential items, and avoid demonstrations. Keep a low profile. Stay aware of your surroundings. Monitor local media for breaking news. Be prepared to adjust your plans. Keep your phone charged. Maintain communications with family and friends to inform them of your status. Story is gaining traction across news outlets. Let's hear how Fox is framing this.
Right now is retired General, four-star General Jack Keane, Fox News' senior strategic analyst and chairman of the Institute of Study of War. General, these talks start. I always say to myself, why are we even having them?
Well, I agree, Brian. I think the idea of making a deal with Iran when they're at the weakest point they've ever been in their 45-plus year history, politically, economically, and militarily, and this was all done by the combination of the strike that the Israelis and the United States made on Iran, certainly, and also you can see how frustrated the people are and the act of desperation that the Iranians demonstrated by mowing down these people by the thousands to preserve this regime is extraordinary in and of itself. That was of historic proportions. Yes, I think negotiating with Iran and making the deal throws them a lifeline and extends the regime. They're going to want sanction relief, certainly condition-based. And what are we doing? We're going to have this regime around for another 10 years? The historic opportunity in front of us is we can take this regime down by a combined attack of Israel and the United States, comprehensive, done, much bigger than what took place during the 12-day war, and put this regime on the pathway to collapse and destruction. I mean, that is absolutely physically possible. And that opportunity is there. No president, 7 before President Trump, have had this opportunity. And the reason why this opportunity is there because he and Prime Minister Netanyahu created the opportunity. Because Iran is so fundamentally weak, and we can't pass it up. And yes, it's historic, but also, Brian, the strategic implications of getting Iran off the board in the Middle East and putting the Middle East on a pathway to enduring peace would actually define President Trump's legacy as a president and foreign policy. It would be extraordinary to do something like that. And that opportunity is right here.
General, the president said, you protest in the streets, we got your back. I understand we got to get our assets in place. From the best you can ascertain with the Institute Study of War and the context that you have, is there a plan out there that you think that could take down the IRGC and the Ayatollah and not result in chaos on the streets?
There is no doubt in my mind that there's an absolute plan that we can execute to take down the civilian and military leadership of Iran, the entire IRGC infrastructure that sustains them, their defense industrial base that helps sustain them, the leaders of the militias and the infrastructure that's out there repressing the people, take down dramatically their entire rocket and ballistic missile program and do it comprehensively that would deny them to have holistic retaliation attacks on the United States bases or on Israel. And certainly whatever attempt they're making at recovering a nuclear program, we can deal with all of that. Yes, the intelligence the United States and Israel has on Iran is exquisite. And we can put kinetic means in place to absolutely force the collapse of this regime. That's the pathway forward. And then what is ever left, whatever the remnants are, in terms of what has happened in Venezuela, may be an example. It's not a clear analogous example. Then you have an opportunity to deal with them and negotiate with them when you have unbelievable leverage to get the outcome you desire as a result of a comprehensive Israeli and United States attack. The president knows all of this. I believe that's the path we will be ultimately on.
General, they've been a problem killing Americans since 1979, taking hostages, and it's just gotten worse from there. We've tried talking. It's not worked. We tried containing. It has not worked. This seems to be the only option, and I hope the president realizes that, because he did promise the people in the streets that we did have their back, and 30,000, it looks like, were slaughtered. General Jack Keane, thanks so much.
Yeah, great talking to you guys. Have a wonderful weekend.
Yep. Speaking of the weekend, we're going to be live on Sunday.
As the warning spreads through major media voices, we're about to see the highest levels of government, how they're responding. All U.S. citizens must leave Iran now. Marco Rubio, as of February 5th, U.S. State Department led by Marco Rubio issued urgent directive for all Americans to leave Iran immediately. Leave Iran now. Coming from the very top, this is the final source, shows how far the crisis has begun and escalated.
Breaking news. The United States has told its citizens in Iran to leave the country immediately. This isn't a normal travel warning. The U.S. rarely issues messages like this unless it believes the situation could deteriorate fast. The advisory points to rising unrest, communication blackouts, and limited ability to move safely. Reports also warn of sudden road closures, flight disruptions, and limited access to basic services. And because the U.S. has no embassy in Iran, Americans there would receive no direct protection if things go wrong. At the same time, China says it is closely monitoring the situation in Iran. No evacuation order, no public threat, just quiet preparation. That contrast matters. When one major power tells its citizens to leave and another starts watching more closely, it usually means uncertainty, not stability. Airlines are cautious. Regional actors are on edge. And any sudden incident could force borders, airspace, or routes to close quickly. Right now, there is no war announcement.
No war announcement yet. We'll see what happens. Now, the bottom line is crystal clear. Trump learned from past mistakes where Americans were left stranded in hostile territory, and he's not waiting for a crisis to develop, he's preventing one. When Trump says leave now, you leave now. That's leadership. And this is what real presidential leadership looks like: protecting Americans before politics, action before deliberation. While other administrations would form committees and issue statements, Trump issues orders that save lives. The Iran situation is escalating, but at least we have a president who puts American safety above diplomatic niceties. The contrast with previous weak responses could not be clearer. So do you trust Trump's instincts to get Americans out of harm's way before it's too late? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to check out the Next News merch shop for gear that shows your America First pride. Okay, got some more action in the Super Chat world here. Looks like we have Ruby Who just gifted a whole bunch of memberships. 5, in fact. Thank you, Ruby. And then he came back with a $5 Super Chat. Trump is right. Iran is a threat, among others. He is moving as he needs to. Curio2369, $4.99. Notice how the blue hairs aren't screaming about the genocide in Iran. No feminist marches on college campuses. No, of course not. Why would they do such a thing? Right? Okay, we got some more news to get into as we progress through the show this evening. We got some reaction from Dick Durbin and Pocahontas as well. Let's see, Dick Durbin. Oh, Elizabeth Warren. Okay. All right. I'm ready if you are, Brian. We'll move right into it. Oh, Nebraska reporting for duty. Hello, everyone. God bless the Patriots here. Thanks, Gary, for all you do. Thank you, Craig, for your support. Sincerely. The establishment is in panic mode as support for the Save America Act reaches unprecedented levels across party lines. Even Democrats are breaking ranks, demanding voter ID requirements, while deep blue states scramble to hide evidence of illegal voter registration. What they're desperately trying to conceal will shock you. Now, this is not just about election integrity anymore. This is about the future of our republic itself. When Alabama catches over 3,000 illegal aliens registered to vote, and that's just one red state actually looking, imagine what's happening in California or New York or Illinois. Your vote could literally be canceled out by someone who shouldn't even be in this country. The political implications are staggering. 83% of Americans support voter ID, including 71% of Democrats. Even Senator Fetterman is demanding voter ID, infuriating his own party leadership. This bipartisan momentum is forcing establishment Republicans to consider nuking the filibuster to get this done. Speaking of things the government does not want you to know about, I need to tell you about something critical to our national security. I want to talk to you about a metal most people never think about, but governments and defense contractors think about every day. Now, you've heard me talk about gold and silver for years, but there's an opportunity that has now caught my attention. It's layered deeper in critical minerals, and one metal in particular, titanium, it is. While China controls 90% of rare earth processing, titanium represents America's strategic vulnerability. Every fighter jet, missile defense system, every critical infrastructure project, it all depends on it. But here's what's alarming. We're almost entirely dependent on foreign suppliers, including countries that aren't exactly our allies. And Saga Metals is positioning Americans to benefit from this national security crisis through strategic mineral investments. When national security meets investment opportunities, smart Americans pay close attention. And I want you to take a look at the briefing that has been prepared exclusively for Next News viewers. It is linked down below, and we thank Saga Metals for supporting our work. Now back to this SAVE Act momentum. Here's where it gets really interesting. Trump used his Super Bowl interview to call for immediate passage of the SAVE Act, telling Americans that even Democrats want this done. Meanwhile, Senator Mike Lee is pushing to eliminate what he calls the zombie filibuster, arguing it's time to make senators actually speak again instead of hiding behind procedural games. We have this. Dick Durbin calls the SAVE Act a terrible idea, and state elections are already secure. When asked by Allison in the Know of Lindell TV whether he would support the SAVE Act, he was blunt. Let's see, I think we have it here. Let me just refresh the page, maybe. Well, I know we have Elizabeth Warren here. Let me just refresh this page. Maybe that'll help. It was there just a second ago. We'll get those clips for you. Let's see if it'll play now. Okay, well, maybe it will load a little bit. I'll get that for you. Actually, let me see here. Let's go to this one. This is Eric Schmidt says he's aggressively pushing to pass the SAVE Act in the Senate, accusing Democrats of wanting illegal aliens to vote to boost their election chances, while arguing the bill is meant to ensure eligible voters aren't disenfranchised. I'll get those other clips ready for you in just a moment, guys.
Democrats want to have people who are here illegally vote for them. That's the God's honest truth. And I think if 2024 represented anything, Harris, it was a return of common sense. There couldn't be more of a common sense proposal than saying you have to provide voter ID to vote, just like when you check into a hotel or you buy an airline ticket, just to prove who you are. But I think it's really interesting and telling that two issues are converging at the same time. This issue of illegal immigration and this issue of voter ID. The Democrats aren't really quiet about it anymore. They're sort of saying the quiet part out loud. loud, which is they want to bring in 15 to 20 million people in here illegally, and they want them to vote for them because they know their ideas are terrible and they can't win elections otherwise. And so what Republicans are saying is, no, look, we want the return of common sense. We want to make sure people are who they say they are. We want to make sure our elections are secure and that people aren't disenfranchised, the people who actually are supposed to vote, by allowing people who aren't supposed to vote actually vote.
Well, another case of rules for thee and not for me, apparently, for Dems. Critics are calling out Democrat Senator John Ossoff for asking campaign event goers to show government ID at the door. There are a lot of pictures of this going on. But he doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah, show your ID to get in. Let me see if I can pull up that that clip for you here real quick. And because it's a good one. Here it is. I'll just go straight to the page. Here it is.
The SAVE Act is expected to be brought this week to the floor for a vote. Do you support voter ID for elections?
Well, it depends on what you mean by voter ID. When you want to say that everyone has to produce a birth certificate, including women whose married names are not on their birth certificates, that creates a real problem for me.
Well, isn't that just one of the first steps in getting married is getting a new ID?
Actually, it's not getting a new birth certificate, because part of what the SAVE Act does is it says most driver's licenses around the country won't work as an ID. And that creates a terrible problem.
But you need an ID to do just about anything in America. Shouldn't you need one to
vote
in
elections? You don't need a birth certificate. I hope you know that.
Thank you. The SAVE Act is expected to be brought this week to the floor for a vote. Do you support voter ID for elections?
Well, it depends on what you mean.
Yeah. It's going to make it hard for women to vote. Sure it is. Just another distraction by Elizabeth Warren, another talking point. And here's that Dick Durbin clip. Let's get that up for you here.
The SAVE Act is expected to be brought to the floor for a vote this week. What are your thoughts on that? Are you going to support the SAVE Act?
Not at all. It's a terrible idea. This notion that we want to put more obstacles in the paths of voters is just what Donald Trump wants, fewer people voting. I want every legal citizen in America to be able to vote without obstacles.
Do you think requiring an ID to vote in elections is making it harder? I mean,
it's more than that. It's more than an ID. It's proof that you were born in America. So what are we talking about, a passport or a birth certificate? Got one of those handy with you in your purse? I doubt it.
Well, if you're going to the voting poll and you know what you need to bring, I mean, it's just one of those documents, right?
Well, just one of those documents. Think about securing your birth certificate before you go in to vote. You know, why are we creating these obstacles? So we have the lowest incidence of fraud and misuse of voting in the world, and Donald Trump wants to put more obstacles in the path of voters. I want everybody legally entitled to vote to have that option without complications.
Thank you very much.
Sure. Complications, right? No, it's only complications to your scheme. That's where the complications actually arise. Because you can't cheat in your elections anymore. Now, Senator John Fetterman is infuriating Democrats. I do not believe it's unreasonable to show ID just to vote. John Fetterman always surprises me.
And now, me as a Democrat, I do not believe that it's unreasonable or to show ID just to vote. And I remind everybody that less than a year ago in Wisconsin, you know, they added that to the Constitution by a 63%, passing, to put that in the Constitution that you have to show ID to vote. And they also elected a very, very liberal justice into their Supreme Court. So it's not a radical idea for regular Americans to show your ID to vote. And it's absolutely, those things are not Jim Crow or anything. Of course, that's part of an awful, awful legacy of our nation for so long ago. But where we are now, trying to find a way forward, just trying to call balls and strikes, seeing what's unreasonable, hopefully we don't have to do, and pay the TSA people and everyone, secure our border, and focus on deporting all of those kinds of criminals, wherever they are. That's the guy that votes for that and supports that. as a Democrat, and I don't ever want to vote to shut our government down again.
Right. And you are very much where the people are. Look, that's what most people would like to see. Prioritize the criminals. Take the criminals out of the country who are.
So Fetterman shocking his own party yet again. Creates the perfect opening for Trump to pile on the pressure during the big media moment. Trump called on Congress to pass the Save America Act during a Super Bowl interview.
President Trump is drawing attention to his SAVE Act when asked about his plans to unify the country during his Super Bowl interview yesterday.
Well, you know, we're working on the Save America Act, which is going to secure up a lot of things, but secure up our voting. I think people would like to do it, and I think Democrats would too. And you ask Democrats, it's polling at 82% with Democrats.
Meanwhile, Democrat Senator Adam Schiff is being confronted on this polling showing an overwhelming 83% of Americans supporting requiring a photo ID to vote.
71% of Democrats favor requiring photo ID. Is that something that you can support? And if not, why not?
It's still going to be something, Jonathan. It's still going to be something that disenfranchises people.
Well, no date has been set yet for a vote
better,
on the SAVE Act.
Yeah. Pencil neck Adam Schiff knows better than the Americans who demand it. With Trump's Super Bowl endorsement locked, the focus shifts to the Senate mechanics that could make or break the bill. Mike Lee, don't confuse the zombie filibuster with the real thing. It's arguably the opposite of the real thing. Time to make senators speak again and pass the SAVE Act. What is the zombie filibuster?
In the coming days, there will be a lot of chatter about the talking filibuster. Some are going to say that it's getting rid of the filibuster, that it's tantamount to nuking the filibuster, and that we can't get rid of the Senate tradition. Well, keep in mind, what we've got right now isn't actually a filibuster. It's the zombie filibuster. It's the evil twin brother, the evil dark side manifestation of the real filibuster. Filibuster, you see, is about protecting each senator's right to debate. The zombie filibuster allows them to have the benefits of the filibuster without actually having to speak. Got to make them speak.
Make them speak. Interesting. Lee's filibuster strategy is getting serious traction. And now there's momentum building. Support hitting an all-time high for Leader Thune to nuke the zombie filibuster and pass the Save America Act. People demand voter ID and citizenship verification. I'm with Mike Lee. Get it done. And then we have this. 3,251 illegal aliens were caught being registered to vote in Alabama. No, there's no such thing as voter fraud. Imagine how many illegals are registered to vote in deep blue states like California. Alabama's numbers make the case, but the kicker is how popular this idea is with voters. Congressman Byron Donalds, did you know 83% of Americans support voter ID, including 95% of Republicans and 71% of Democrats?
It's a Pew survey, okay? Here's a Pew survey, okay? All Americans right now, different parties, on support for requiring some form of photo ID. You're at 83%. Among Democrats, you're at 71. Republicans are at 95. Doesn't seem to be much of a debate based on those numbers, Will.
Can I give you two more numbers that I think tell this entire story as well, Bill, from that same Pew Research study? Something like 86% of Latinos support voter ID and 71% of Black Americans support voter ID. Of course, why is that important? Because to listen to Hakeem Jeffries or any other Democrat tell the story, it is the voter suppression targeted at minority voters. They tell minority voters, they tell America, that Black Americans and Latino Americans don't have the wherewithal to get an ID. Meanwhile, those very same people they purport to speak for say, you know what, that makes a lot of sense. You should prove who you are before you vote. Which, by the way, Bill, would put us in the same pool as virtually every other country on the face of the planet.
I love it. Yeah, all those other racist nations, right? The polling numbers are devastating for opponents, and now here's a final call to action.
If my 5-year-old needs a birth certificate in order to attend free public school to prove his identity, then you need a birth certificate to prove your citizenship in order to vote. If my 5-year-old needs a birth certificate to prove his identity in order to play t-ball or Pop Warner football or many other extracurricular activities, then you need to present your birth certificate in order to prove your citizenship in order to vote. The fact that children need to show birth certificates in order to be enrolled in school, in order to participate in extracurricular activities, and in some cases to even go to a certain doctor or to go to certain summer camps, then you bet your ass that you need to prove your citizenship to vote in our elections. And for anybody that wants to say, well, this is going to disenfranchise people, how? How? If you were married or divorced, or there was any sort of name change, there is a paper trail that follows. Either a marriage certificate that proves your name change or a divorce decree to also prove a potential name change. And both of those presented in conjunction with your birth certificate can get you a real ID or a passport. Yeah, but it's an amendment. Everybody has the right to do that and shouldn't have to jump through a bunch of hoops. Tell that to the people who own the 500 million firearms within this country and the fact that most of us can't walk into a store and leave with a firearm that we purchased that day. The moral of the story is that it is okay to disenfranchise children for them to play sports and go to school. It is okay to disenfranchise those that want to join the military. And it is okay to disenfranchise those who want to participate in their Second Amendment. But God forbid you make people prove their citizenship in order to have a safe and secure election. The left loses their ever-loving minds. Somebody make it make sense.
No one's ever going to make it make sense. We try to make sense of it here every day. But the mask is completely off now. When you need ID for literally everything, enrolling your kid in school, playing t-ball, buying beer, but requiring ID to vote is somehow Jim Crow 2.0. You know exactly what's happening. They can't win fair elections, so they're fighting tooth and nail against common sense. The Save America Act represents the most important election integrity legislation in decades, and the momentum is unstoppable. With 83% public support, Trump's endorsement, even Democrats like Fetterman breaking ranks. The establishment's resistance is crumbling. This is about ensuring only American citizens decide American elections, period. The fact that they're fighting this so hard tells you everything about how they have been winning elections. Do you believe requiring ID to vote is just basic common sense? Let me know in the comments, and while you are engaging, check out the Next News merch shop to show your support for real journalism that puts America first. All right, folks. Good to see. So where do we end the tally at tonight? Let's just check in and see where we landed. 54.98. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. And that brings us to the end of another edition of the Raw Feed, where we've once again exposed the truth they don't want you to see. Tonight, we witnessed the complete collapse of intellectual honesty from America's gatekeepers, the same media that celebrates degeneracy when Bad Bunny performs sexually explicit content, suddenly discovered moral outrage when Kid Rock delivered an authentically American message at Turning Point USA's halftime show. The selective criticism reveals everything you need to know about their agenda. They'll attack patriotism while defending perversion every single time. Meanwhile, the Epstein Files investigation continues exposing the two-tiered justice system that protects the elite. Despite Representative Massey's heroic efforts to pass the Epstein Transparency Act, 7 of 10 identified co-conspirators remain hidden behind redactions. When billionaires and powerful politicians can buy their way out of accountability while ordinary Americans face the full weight of government persecution, you're not living in a constitutional republic anymore. And the financial investigation into Ilhan Omar perfectly illustrates how Washington insiders enrich themselves through schemes that would land regular citizens in federal prison. Going from $65,000 in debt to millionaire status in 5 years while serving in Congress raises obvious questions. Her husband's phantom investment firm and their winery that produces no wine aren't business ventures. They're money laundering operations hiding in plain sight. And Secretary Rubio's urgent directive for Americans to leave Iran immediately demonstrates the strength and clarity that define Trump's foreign policy approach. When this administration tells you to get out, they mean business. And our enemies understand that America under Trump's leadership doesn't bluff, doesn't negotiate from weakness, and doesn't abandon our citizens to hostile regimes. And the grassroots momentum behind the Save America Act proves that ordinary Americans refuse to accept election fraud as the new normal. 83% support voter identification requirements because common sense isn't dead yet. Alabama discovered over 3,000 illegal aliens registered to vote. Imagine what California's numbers look like. So it's time to eliminate the filibuster and secure our elections before we lose our republic permanently. It was February 9th, 1950. That was the day that Senator Joseph McCarthy warned Americans about ideological subversion threatening our institutions from within. Whether you agreed with his methods or not, McCarthy understood that cultural battles determine the fate of nations. Today's patriots fighting for transparency, election integrity, and American values face the same establishment resistance McCarthy encountered 76 years ago. The difference here, though, is we're winning. So before we sign off, hit the merch shelf below this video. Show your support for independent journalism. Thanks for our Super Chat contributors and everyone dropping your Rumble rants. You guys make the show what it is. The Raw feed will continue exposing the truth while mainstream media peddles propaganda. We'll keep connecting dots that they desperately want hidden. I'm Gary Franchi. This has been the Raw feed. Stay free. We'll see you tomorrow.